Hey, listen, We Just Different Podcast. I'm so excited to be here. Charles Robinson, your host. I am so excited for the guests that I have today. It's been a pleasure. I've got to know them. Me and my wife moved here about 7 years ago, and I think I met Claudienne and Mario as soon as we moved here via social media. Claudienne posted something about a book. I reached out to her. She sent me the book, and then I started following Mario, finding out about football, the school, just doing research on him. He didn't even know about it. I was just checking him out to say, is this a good dude? Because I knew one day I wanted my son to connect with you. But just some good people, man, down here in South Florida doing it big. They love God. They're entrepreneurs. They're approaching life the way that We Just Different says you should approach life. Do everything possible to do everything possible. That's the brand. That's everything that we say, right? Do everything possible to do everything possible. No fear, no regrets. So these are people that I look up to personally. And I'm just so blessed and so thankful that they're in the studio today to do the podcast. So welcome, Mario, Claudienne. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Super excited.
I'm excited that you all are here. So tell me, so who are Mario, Claudienne? Like, what do you all do? Because I know some of what you do, but what do you all do? Tell me just in a nutshell.
We're entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs that are looking to spread cheer and joy amongst, a culture. And we're doing that through our walk of life, and being able to impact people through what we do. From my standpoint is school, sports, mental motivation, those different type of things, spiritual connection. And we do a lot of those things around the house, that we bring on the outside. And this lovely lady here is just dynamic in what she does. Everything she touches turns into platinum, not just gold. But
Yes, honey, I love it. Yes.
I like that. I'm going to have to tell my wife that. I like that.
So, even with that being said, I think we feed off each other's energy. You know what I mean? There are times that, I see her and she's just moving, and I'm like, you know what? I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's times that she says, I'm really looking at you and what you're doing, and I'm inspired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's just that communication of being able to know what we want, our values matching up, and us going after to get them.
So tell me this. One of the things that I've always admired about you all's relationship from afar, and I watch on social media, is that I see Claudienne and everything that she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always moving 1,000,000 miles per hour. Like, I've had questions and called Claudienne 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And she's like, always, it could be 4 o'clock in the morning. And she's moving. And when I see you, it's like, I get the exact opposite, but it's like you all work. Like, how does that dynamic work? Because I know a lot of people that may see this say, as entrepreneurs, sometimes me and my wife are both entrepreneurs, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes in the home of two entrepreneurs, naturally you kind of butt heads. Like, how does that dynamic work with such different personalities but yet the same goal? Like, what advice can you give to somebody else that says, hey, me and my wife are entrepreneurs?
Yeah, let me tell you. So I say this, it hasn't always been that way. When I learned to let go, I would always kind of step in his space and try to take it. And I'm a Leo, so I think just naturally I do that with everybody. I'll see them trying to do something and I just jump in and just do it.
My wife do that too.
Oh, okay. See, so it might not be a Leo thing then. So I don't even know what sign is she.
I don't know.
What's her
I'm not
birthday?
good at that. It's in March.
Oh, okay, so okay.
March
Pisces.
But
So-
you know what? I think when women are like bosses, you all have that natural takeover mentality.
Yep.
Right?
Innate.
Yep, and so, I realized I was more detriment in that space than I was productive.
Okay.
And
you mean as far as in
us just
for you
doing work together.
Okay.
And so when I learned to just relax and let go, if there were mistakes being done, just let them happen and kind of sort of let life take place. Because I tell you one thing that I admire about Mario is that he is a discipline. Like, if the word discipline and consistency had a picture, it would be him.
Yeah.
And not just in work and things that you don't really see men do. So I give an example. Like, I would watch him pray every day. I would watch him read books literally every day, to the point I was like, wait, you're reading too much. When are you going to do work? I'm confused. And he was doing work. That was his process. And so when I realized
actually reading the book,
and I was like, wait, you on like book number 20? Like, it's time to do something in the books. But what I realized is that everybody doesn't function the same. So I function differently. You see how I came in here just now and I was like, oh, I'm planning already in my mind.
Yeah.
He processes a little bit different. And so I watch him not only pray, but I watch him meditate. I watch him affirm every day. Like, I know his affirmations.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I know his affirmations because I hear it every day.
Yeah.
And so when I learned that, you know what, this is very important and this is his process, let me come over here and support from a different space.
Yeah.
And allow him the space to do it. And when I did that, I don't know, what do you think? Like, when I did that, he just flourished.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of got out of the way. And so, yes, I'm the firecracker. I'm the let's go, let's do it. He's the wait a minute, let's pray about it. Let's meditate on it. Let's affirm. Let me go back. Let me analyze this.
Let it be calculated.
It got to be calculated. I'm like, you taking too long. I'm ready to go.
So was that a challenge for you in the beginning?
I would say somewhat a challenge, you know, and understanding just how she moved. But then again, I learned to work at that speed, you know what I mean? And with that being said, still understanding who I was and where I wanted to be as a person, you know what I mean? Going through the personal development, going through our good books, and just understanding development of self, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I was big on. And how do I see myself in this role that I've never been a principal or a school owner, but I know that this is what I want to make happen, and this is how we're going to impact lives that come in our vicinity. So it was more so of how do you go if you don't know who do you go to, and mentors are my books. You know, my mentors are my books, and those are the books that I read.
That's good. Tell me that again.
My
I like
mentors
that.
are my books.
Your mentors are your books. So
Definitely.
stop making excuses that you can't get in touch with these people. Pick
Exactly.
up a book, man.
You know what I mean?
That's good. I like that. That helped me a lot.
Definitely. You know what I mean? So you'll find plenty of mentors and books, and if there's a success plan, I want to study it till the end, because what I do realize is a lot of people don't become wealthy like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. You're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and that's when they're starting to hit that realm. But it took a process to
just get there.
Just get there. You know what I mean? And now when you get there, there's so much of an opening. You like, whoa, it's endless possibilities. You know what I mean? But a lot of times that we come out of it, we don't work on self, and we're constantly, taking in what the world gives us. But lo and behold, we have to discipline self to understand what it is that we want and how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that was a process that she saw that I was going through, because we even
so
had
let me ask you this
question.
In that process, because I know sometimes I'm very calculated and methodical with my moves, and Tiffany will push me out there to the point where I'll get upset, like, wait, you're pushing me out of my comfort zone. But then when I look back on it, I'm like, man, she didn't push me. I needed that push.
Definitely.
Sometimes I need that push, and sometimes I need her to slow down and think about the details. Have you all gone through that as well?
Yes, indeed. All the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time. You know what I mean? But you need that balance, because she will push me, and I sometimes it's uncomfortable when she did back then.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
But then when you look at it in hindsight, you're like, that's the person that's gonna get things done. So let me ride this wave, and let me get the things done. You know what I mean? And one of the things that always stuck with me about her, she was like, when you call somebody, don't just let the phone ring one time. Call them back. You know what I mean? And so I learned that, like, okay, she's very persistent about what she wants. You know what I'm saying? And some people innately have it, and then some people have it like, you know what? I have to develop it. You know what I mean? So I was more so of, I got to develop what she talking about, but you know what? I'm gonna develop it in my way that works for me, and I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna make the pictures. I'm going to visually see it. I'm going to manifest.
So I'm glad you say that, because he has his vision board. Like, it can go from his office to the house. Like, he keeps up with it, and it's been.
How often do you update it?
I don't know,
I
but we had it for a while.
Complete everything that's on it.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Charles, I don't know where my vision board. I don't even know where it is at. I know where it is. I just don't know where it's at physically. And so I realized vision boards aren't my thing. Yeah. I have no interest in putting a vision board together. My visions are here. I'm going to write it down on my mirror in my bathroom. It's just a different process. Let me just say that it's a different process. But he has his on his phone as a screensaver. I go to his office. It's on the desk. And I look at it and I say, wow. Like the only thing we probably don't have yet is the plane, and it's coming.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
And it's coming.
That's what I'm talking
We have
about.
the school, we got the football team, we got the marathon.
But wait, okay, let's slow down, because I think they're missing some of what you're saying. So when you say we have the school, what does that mean? You work at a school?
No, we own the school.
You own the school?
Own the school.
That's what I'm talking about.
Own the school.
Tell me about the school, because I want to get into, so we're at, like, you all are just dynamic right now, right? So I want to know, how did you get where you are now? Like, what decisions were made to get to the point? Because you don't just own the school. That's not something you just wake up and say,
let me start.
I own the school.
So I meet Mario, and he has this book that he has this guy has been a writer. His penmanship is so great too. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he's a writer. He actually writes down his visions and his goals.
Yeah.
And I remember when we met almost 12, 13 years ago, I opened
How did you
the
all
book.
meet? How'd y'all meet?
We were on the field. I was conducting a speed camp.
And I said, wow, what's going over there on that field? My son was at track practice.
Oh, so her son came to the field.
No, my son was at track practice. He was on another field next door at Norwood, and they were running like 100 people. I want you to imagine this for a minute. 100 people in a line, running with parachutes, and the parachutes are floating. I was like, I've never seen that before.
Okay.
This looks interesting. Let me walk over. And my neighbor's brother was over there. I said, well, what's going on over here? He's like, oh, this is Coach Mario, speed
So
camp.
he saw you bring your kid over, and then you tried to holler at the mom that came over with
No.
Okay,
So
okay.
listen, wait a minute. So now Terry, he's telling me about this Mario, he works at Pace, and a light bulb goes off for me because my son is in the 8th grade.
Okay.
He plays basketball, and Pace happens to be one of the schools we're looking at for both education and basketball. And so I said, call him over here. I get right to it. I said, forget it. Just call him over here. He said, you're not going to come over here? I said, yeah, he's going to come over here. Tell him I'm calling him over here. And so he calls him, and he came. And I saw him walking, and Terry says, yeah, Terry trying to amp him up. He used to play football and this. I said, oh, no, I ain't messing with this buddy. I had written him off. And he talked to me, told me a little bit about Pace. Mm-hmm. And when I left, apparently he got my phone number from Terry and logged it into his phone.
Okay.
About 6 months later.
6 months later. Yeah.
My son ends up going to Pace.
So did you get the phone number because you were attracted, or you got the phone number for business purposes, or a little bit of both?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay, fair enough.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Really?
Because I was actually getting ready to buy a condo, and I told
that's
you that.
right.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So it was a win-win.
It was a win-win.
He never calls me though.
But I never called.
My son goes to the school. My son has him now for history because he was a teacher at Pace.
No, but you skipped the part about speed camp. When,
that didn't happen yet. That didn't happen yet. My son was in your class first.
No.
Yes, he was.
Because he got in there in the summer.
Okay, so you're right.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're right. So I'm at the Section 8 office, moving one of my tenants in, and Coach Mark Lieberman says, I'm always trying to see how to get Mari better. I'm like, what does he need to get better? Mm-hmm. He says he needs to work on his footwork and speed. Hey, call this guy named Mario. Now, I'm not thinking this is Mario. I'm in a whole different
6 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mario, Pace, Hispanic, Latin, I'm thinking that. So I'm talking to him in my little spare time. He's like, yeah, you could bring him for free. I'm like, okay. So he sees my name pop up in his phone, so he knows who I am.
Oh, so when she called, she didn't know who you were, but you knew who she was.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so he, gave me all the perks. Yes, the last 3 weeks you can go in and bring him for free. I think he did that on purpose.
There's a purpose.
It was a smart business move. It was a smart business move, right?
It's purpose driven.
I never see
like
who he
that.
is, and then we talk again, and now I know who he is, and then we talk for a long time, and Mari ends up in his class, and that was the rest of that. That was it. It was history.
Okay.
Start dating.
Okay. So y'all start dating after that. Then you get to the point where you say, hey, we want to make it serious. We get married, and then you just start taking over, buying properties. I mean, where did it go from there? How did you get to the point where you own a school and you are doing everything that you're doing now? Because once again, that stuff just doesn't happen overnight.
So this is what I was gonna say. He had this, and I'm gonna let you take over. He had one of those books. What do you call it? Will you journal? Composition book. The pages were starting to turn like brown. Like it had been closed for so long. And when I looked at it, I was like, man, there's some good ideas. And I wanted to open up an all-boys school because
so he had been writing the ideas, and you had put it away.
Mm-hmm. Put it
Why
away.
did you put it away?
It's not that I put it away. It's just I utilize it to to pretty much write out what it is that I want to do.
It's like journaling.
You know,
Okay.
and then I brought it out because I think that what she's talking about was more so going towards our private versus public all-star game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was saying, hey, this is what I want to do for high school seniors, you know.
Because you was doing that before the school,
Mhm.
the public versus private all-star
Definitely.
game,
Mhm.
and that was just a Miami thing.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, but we had kids that came from out of state.
Connecticut.
We had kids that came from everywhere to play in the game.
Wow.
So it was huge in helping kids get to the next level. And we've had kids playing that game and just up their status, you know.
Got you.
But from that point and standpoint, I think one of the things that we spoke about when we got together was building, you know, building
Yeah.
from the ground up. And it just happened to be that we were in, 2008, 2007, when it was, you know,
Yep, he did. He said, I just, I saved my money and went buy a condo. I said, no. You coming to buy this duplex. He ended up buying a duplex,
Yep.
right?
definitely.
He ended up buying a duplex. I had already owned properties prior to meeting Mario, but
Okay.
I had filed bankruptcy. I had to reorganize some things. And so I said, okay, I love real estate. We just made a couple errors, but let me see how to redo this the right way. And then we just started building all over.
So this is 2007, 2008,
I don't remember
Somewhere
when I
around
found
there.
that.
roughly around there. And so you've been in real estate for how long?
2 decades.
2 decades. Wow. So
2
you got in
decades.
real estate at you were in
21.
college, 21.
I right out of college.
So we're gonna skip over, but we're not gonna skip over. So from before 21, what happened? What makes your story so special, and why? Like, because everybody's not a success that comes from what you came from, right? So tell me a little bit about that. You can tell me as much as you want, or kind of go into that a little bit.
Pre-21.
Pre-21.
So, I gave birth to Amari at the age of 14. And pretty much I was written off, People didn't, they said I was going to drop out of high school. I would have had 3 to 4 kids. I guess that was the narrative. I don't know. I didn't know what that looked like. And at that time, there wasn't a bunch of kids pregnant either.
Yeah.
I might have been one of 2 people. I don't even remember my peers being pregnant in high school, to be honest. And so it just kind of pushed me. And I've always been pushed by the nose. I don't know why. That motivates me, but it does. When you tell me I can't do something, it's like, okay. And I just go. And so that
So
kind
even
of
at that age, you felt like that?
even in elementary and kindergarten, I was very competitive. Like, I wanted to finish my math test first. I wanted to have all the answers right. I always wanted to, I was always raising my hand first. And so I think innately, I'm just competitive.
Got you.
And probably comes from my dad. As I look at my dad and the things that he's done, I feel like I have more of my dad than my mom. And so definitely I believe that it was innate. And when I got to that high school era, I said, you know what, I'm going to change the narrative. I became the vice president of my class, the girl with the most school spirit. I mean, I was in every organization. I had scored over 1,200 on the SATs. And boom,
this is after you.
this is after I
Okay.
give birth. I'm in 9th grade when I give birth.
Wow.
I don't miss a day of school intentionally. They wanted me to go to Cope. Nothing against Cope. I wasn't going to Cope. I said, why do I have to go to Cope? Because I'm pregnant. Like, why can't I stay in school with my peers and my friends? I can
Right.
handle it.
Right.
And so I did. And I graduated, went on to the University of Florida, got a job, just over broke, I like to call it. And I saw what someone had made in a real estate transaction. I saw what somebody had made in a real estate transaction, and I said, wow, she just made $45,000. I make that in 1 year. I'm doing something wrong. Wait a minute. Because I'm going to work for 8-9 hours a day. The people are telling me what to do. And, it's just challenging. Growing up, I was a bad girl. The truth is, if I had not changed what I was doing, I might have ended up in jail. And the truth is, I've been in jail. I've been pulled over by the cops and they flipped a coin. I remember I tell you that story all the time. The cops were following me. I was probably like 16 at the time. And I might have ran a stop sign. I've run it, but you don't stop.
Right.
And so now, I'm in the back seat of a police car with some speakers, and they're like, heads or tails. Wherever it lands, heads, you're going into the station.
Wow.
And so I ended up going
And
into the station.
This is in Miami.
Yeah, this is in Miami. I
Wow.
dated a guy who was in the streets. We called him 9 lives. I was driving his vehicle home, and boom, they thought it was him, and it was me. I ended up going to jail again. And so, You know, I remember going to the Pac Jam. I don't know if you know what the Pac Jam is. You know what the Pac Jam is. Charles was on the right path. He was going to church. I was going to church too.
I grew up in Atlanta, so I would come down.
That's right.
I would come down and visit.
That's right.
When my cousins went to do stuff like that, I couldn't go. My mom wouldn't let me go. So
right.
I heard about a lot of stuff.
We kind of just did what we wanted to do, Charles, to be honest. And I remember going to the Pac Jam, and we didn't have no ride home. So what I do best, I got us a ride home. They dropped my girlfriends off, and what did I do in the car? Can you guess? I fell asleep. And instead of getting home, I was in home. I don't even know where I was. And there was a whorehouse, and we were going into the whorehouse. And I was pregnant with Mari at the time. So I was like, 14 at the time. And I would just remember telling him, listen, I'm pregnant. He ended up dropping me off. God came. He ended up taking me to a payphone. We didn't have cell phones at that time. I didn't. And I ended up calling my mom, and I said, I don't even know where I am. She just said, stay where you are. I called 911. They came and got me, and that was that. So I've been through some traumas, but I tell you, those traumas weren't really traumas for me. It was like, okay, I got out of this. I need to get myself on the right track. Like, that was one thing. Okay, I got to get myself on the right track. Like, I hear stories from people right now today that have been traumatized in their adult life by some of the things that they've been subjected to or experienced. And I think about it and I just say, you know what? That could have been me. That could have been me in jail forever. That could have been me I think about it. I saw I saw the people going into this house. Yeah. And all I could think of is that I'm pregnant. Like, what am I doing here? Like, and so I just turned, you just have to make a decision. Yeah. I literally, just like that, made a decision.
But at the end of the day, once again, that just embodies everything that We Just Different stands for, right? Mm-hmm. We're a chosen generation. We're a royal priesthood. And it's like you look back at certain situations in your life and you're like, there's no way that could have been anything but God, right?
Exactly.
And then you look back and you say, I made a decision, I made a choice. But the challenging thing that I see is that a lot of people say they want to do things, but they're not willing to make that decision. They're not willing to make that choice. And then when you have the opportunity to sacrifice, you say, nah, I'd rather take the easy route.
Right.
I'd rather just stay working this job. I'd rather just stay hanging with my friends. I'd rather just stay doing whatever it is that I'm doing because it's easy. But it's like you two said, no, I'm not going to do that. And at 14, just to hear you say pregnant, in a car, fell asleep, hanging with some people you shouldn't have been hanging with, went to jail, at a whorehouse, not you, but the car went there, been arrested several times. I mean, all of this stuff to take place, and then for you all to be here now, where you're, co-owners of a school and you're educating young black men to let them know, like, hey guys, like, I've been there before. Because one of the challenges that I have a lot of times when I'm talking to these guys, they look at you now and they think you can't relate.
Yeah.
They think you have no idea what they're going through and that you're stupid. They know everything and they're the first person to ever go through this, right? And so,
I think
that's just amazing.
Reason why, I always tell Mario it's important to share the story. Yeah. The story never gets stale because right when you think about saying it again, there's another listener. Now somebody gets to hear. So I think it's important not to just celebrate the glory, but also share the story. Yeah. I'm going to use that. Yep. We can't always we always want to share the glory, but we always want to go back and say, here's where I started.
Exactly.
So that people understand, like, we didn't have a silver, plate and forks and, like, we didn't have that lifestyle. And so I think it's important to keep, like, people think, oh, they're getting bored with this story. No, you got to keep saying the story because people will hear it. And I'm going to tell you something else. I've read Think and Grow Rich. I've read different books at different points in my life, and I've read them from a different perspective. And so even when you're telling your story, people hear it at different times of their lives and say, wow, this is an aha moment for me. Let me make the decision.
Correct.
I see she seems sincere. She seems transparent. Let her coach me through. Maybe I'm on Instagram. Maybe I'm on Facebook. He always says that I had to talk to somebody. I had to talk to the people, And so that's my audience before I get to the big stage. I got to practice.
Hey, listen.
I got to practice.
So tell me this. So you're from Miami as well,
yes,
right?
Yes, I am.
Where are you from in Miami?
I'm from, grew up in Brown Sub, but then I migrated to what is now Miami Gardens. It was Norwood.
Okay.
Subdivision at first.
So I just want to make sure we're clear because when people see this and they hear Miami, they think 305.
Yep.
They think what everybody see, right? This is the real Miami people. I'm
Right,
talking
it's
about
a real vibe.
Opelika, Carroll City,
Right.
Liberty City. Like this is
Exactly.
not the Miami you see that you want to come to and hang out. You don't vacation in this Miami, right? So I say that to say that when you find good people that'll sit down in platforms like this and tell you their story,
Yep.
and they come from the real Miami, I like to spotlight that, especially when they black and brown people, and
Yes,
I know they
indeed.
done been through some of the same struggles that I've experienced, and that some of these young kids are still experiencing today. And I mean, just last week there was a senseless shooting and killing, right? And it's
Right.
not enough of us
Correct.
telling these stories to help these kids out, man. Like they really feel like they're lost. Okay, so the school, we get to the school, we go through all of this stuff. So tell me really quick. So what's your background in Miami? Were you a troublemaker like Claudienne?
No, I was an athlete.
Okay.
I was a student athlete, but more so of an athlete.
Okay.
No, he was the son of a parent that ain't played.
I know. I saw some videos of him hitting some people in college. He was cracking some heads. So I
Right.
believe he was
Yeah.
an athlete. I saw
Yeah, I
that.
was an athlete, and that's where like mom and dad come from a 2-parent household.
Okay.
And that wasn't easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, everybody has their ups and downs going through those situations, but you tend to come out of it understanding where you want to go and doing the things that you want to do. So a long time ago, I've understood in my lifetime, I've set these things up and said, you know, I want to do this, and they've been accomplished. But then when you see it in the manuscript of, okay, this is really how you do this, you know, now you start to dig deep into it and try to master those things.
Yeah.
But going back to like how the school started, I think we had a vision when that vision matched up. It was okay. Now Mario Smith has to leave Pace High School.
You missing some stuff. I used to tell him all the time, why you still over there teaching? You didn't quit. You didn't leave them people's school alone. You don't need that job.
Yep.
For 3 years, I would tell him this.
Yeah.
And I decided, and once again decided to leave him alone. And one day he came home. He said, well, I'm not going back to work. I said, what? Like, what? But we supposed to plan. I became the planner. Like, we had to calculate this. And his son was in school.
Yeah.
At the time, that meant, that, you know, when you teach at, you know, private school, sometimes they allow the kids to go for free.
Right.
And I said, well, what are we going to do about, you know, the school? He said, we just pay it.
Yep. Because it
I'm
was
like-
only the back half of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? He was a senior, and it was only going from January. Well, it was February actually.
Yeah, it was very short. I was
February
like,
to
you
May.
could have stuck that out.
Yeah, but I mean, when that time came around, it was just time to go. You know what I
Right.
mean? That little voice in your head say, "Let's go."
Yeah.
There wasn't no 2-week notice. It was just, let's jump off the ship and see what happens. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We'll develop our wings going down.
Yeah.
And it was a little turbulent.
That was
period.
me 2 weeks ago, so
Yeah.
I totally get it. Literally
You know?
2 weeks ago, that was me.
Definitely, and it's one of the hardest things that you ever do because you feel attached to that situation
Right.
and where you're at, and you know you've impacted so many people, but when you know your impact is that much larger outside of those gates,
Yeah.
you want to go for it, you know. So I jumped off and I didn't have a parachute to land on. I went to cutting grass and picking locks and doing
He
those
became
things.
the property manager.
Right, so I became the property manager. I picked up something to help in the house to get us to the next level.
Right.
You know, but even with that being said, that duplex that I bought, we ended up selling that duplex and developing out the school. Yep. So after we sold the duplex, we put that money into developing the school.
Okay.
And one of the things that I love about my wife is that she says when we're going to do things, we're going to do it at 100% and not at 50%, not at 80%. So whatever
So if you're
we
gonna do it, you're gonna do
we're
it.
going to do it.
That's
You know,
right,
we're
with
going to go in
excellence.
in excellence and do it that way. And that's where when you come into the school, you'll see the nice seats, but those are something I had on the vision board because I saw it.
So wait, I want to make sure that people get this nugget. If you commit to something, just go ahead and do it, man. Like stop saying you're gonna do something,
Correct.
and then going at it like not all the way. I almost said something else, but stop saying you're gonna do something and then not committing.
Correct.
Because you're not going to, as long as in your head you're not fully committed, it's not gonna manifest.
Correct.
And so if you say you're gonna do something, commit 110%.
Yes, indeed. And when you commit that 110%, that you reap the benefits that come out of it. So even in developing the school at first, we wanted everything to be in there and look nice and be attractive, and not just have a spot, you
Yeah.
know, for a school. So you want it to be comfortable. So it's more so like a home school, something where it's comfortable. But as time went on, it developed out, and it's ever evolving. So with that being said, we're at the point now where we're looking to purchase a building, for the school, and it's growing tremendously. And the message with the personal development, you see the growth in the kids. You see through prayer, you see them through those same affirmations. The kids learning it, and it's just been a wonderful journey seeing from 17 to 25 to 65 to 125.
Wow. That's amazing.
Students.
Yeah.
That's
And those are students, you know what I mean?
So I'm gonna have to interrupt you and just say right here, I just appreciate everything that you all are doing with that school. So one of the things that they don't know, but I'm about to share.
Yeah.
So when you started the school, I reached out to a few people that I knew that knew you. One of which, Stephen Morris. Shout out Stephen. He gonna be on the podcast as well. First cousin, so proud of him. Made it to the league, did his thing. I reached out to Stephen. I said, hey, you know Mario Smith? And I didn't say coach because I wanted to see if he really knew you. He's like, you mean coach? I was like, yeah, coach. He said, I said, you know him? He's like, yeah, I know him. I said, well, what you think about him? He said, I'm going to call you. I said, okay. So I didn't know if he was going to say something bad or good because I'm texting him. He said, I'm going to call you. I said, all right, call me. He said, you free to talk? I said, yeah, I'm free to talk. So he calls me. And he says, you want to know the truth? I said, I want to know the truth. He said, man, if I had a son, that's the man I wanted to be.
Oh.
I was like, wow. He was like, I can't think of anybody else from a male perspective that I would want my son to watch. This is how you should act as a man.
Yep.
And I was like, man, that's big because I mean, you know, Stephen, he's a very low key kind of guy. Kind of stays to himself. Mm-hmm. You don't find too many, very unassuming. You don't find too many, in my opinion, guys that make it to the league in that position as a quarterback that aren't like big headed. They don't think like he's like the total opposite of what you would think, right? Yeah. And so when he said that to me, that carried a lot of weight. I mean, me and Stephen are 12 years apart, and I've always looked at him like a little cousin, little brother type deal. But when he said that to me, I'm like, man, that's wisdom speaking right there. So I reached out to you, and my son's 15 now. I said, hey, I'm going to bring him to the school. Yep. Brought him over to the school. He came home crying a few days. He missed his friends, begging. Could he go back to be with his friends? So I ended up letting him go back to be with his friends. But one of the things that to this day still impacts him tremendously, so before he came to the school, they had said that he needed medication to focus. Mm-hmm. And he came to your school, and I don't know what you said to him or what happened, but he came on one day, he said, Dad, I don't need my medicine no more. I said, well, why don't you need the medicine no more? He said, they told me I don't need it. He said, they told me I could sit there and I could focus and I could learn, and they told me what to do if I start getting off track. He said, but I don't need that medicine no more. Yeah. And he has not taken that medicine in 4 years.
That's big.
Like whenever that was. When did you start school? 4 years?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
This will be rolling to our 4th year.
He hadn't taken the medicine since then. And he constantly says, Coach said I don't need it. He said I can sit my butt here and I can do my work. I don't need the medicine. Yep. I'm good. Yep. And he's done well in school. He's going into Calvary as a freshman. Okay. One of the top freshmen in Florida in basketball. Like doing his thing. Yes, indeed. And the biggest thing was in school he would not sit still. Like I would get calls every single day. Quincy won't sit still. He acting up again. You need to up his medication. Like that's all they kept saying to me. You need to up his medication. You need to up his medication. Wow. You need to up. Maybe you need to change the medication.
This is one of the reasons why we decided to open the school. Correct. And Mario misses a piece. He quits his job. We think the school's just gonna open in 6 months. Yeah. Boom, it takes 3 years.
Wow.
We have to find a location. None of the locations are zoned for schooling.
So you mean when you decide to do something, it's not easy all the time?
No.
That was a little bit. Because social media make it look like you decided and then the next picture the school open. That's not how it works.
No. You missed some pieces in there.
Building code and
man, the chief said, we're not going to be able to let you open up a school in this building. I said, no, you don't understand. We went down there on a day that they don't take people. Yep. We went without an appointment. I said, come on, because I know he called the Tiger out. He know when to call me. So he said, come on. I said, come on, let's go. I said, listen, I don't think you understand. We've been paying $7,500 every month for a whole year with no school. I want you to understand this. All we want to do is educate some children to get them to the next level. I said, I don't know what you got to do with these plans. I don't know what you need us to do, but he took those plans He took them in the back. Remember,
Yep.
the chief inspector been there for 30
Wait,
years.
so y'all was paying $7,500 a month because you were paying for the location, but you didn't
Our
have a
lease,
school.
well, our lease had already been executed.
Wow.
Our lease had already been executed. We didn't know that it was going to take such a process, and we didn't know that they could possibly tell us no.
Correct.
We don't live in a world where somebody could tell us no.
Exactly.
So we're not even thinking no. And now they said, well, you got to move the rate, like structural.
So I'm doing the math in my head. I'm listening, but y'all, we talking about almost $90,000, people. This is
with
like
no
86,
income coming in.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I don't know what he went back there and did, but he said, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I need you to change the doors to make the doors swing outwards. I think that was it.
Yep.
I said, that's no problem. We got that. We can fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Doors we can fix. We cannot take these people rail
So,
down.
but what made y'all keep going? I mean, because a lot of people, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. A lot of people would have said, I know this is my dream, but I'm not doing this no more. Like, why did you keep going?
Because I think you get into it and you don't get into it to fail. You know what I mean? And that's a
failure
mindset.
that wasn't an option.
Failure is not an option at that point in time. We were gonna figure it out some way, somehow. And I remember one time the landlord called me and said, and she was like, "Answer his call," you know. I was like,
I said it like that?
Yeah, answer his call. You know? If he calling you, answer his call. So I was just like, okay, let me answer his call. And they call about their rent money, you know.
Right.
And I said, and he was like, well, you owe us this. I said, man, you think I got into this to fail? No, we're going to get it to you. You know what I mean? And from that, something kicked in and said, let's go. Right. You know, and then things started happening. You know, we opened up the school. We opened up with 17, and then, you know.
17 students.
17 students. And even during that time, it was a struggle because there was only 2 of us there for those 17 kids. And everything was calculated into making the school run. So you had to sacrifice, let me say me, had to sacrifice even just pay for myself.
Yeah.
That it all went back into the business. So, but when you want something and you see the vision's so much bigger than you, you're going to put that sacrifice in. Because you know what's later down the line for you. You know what I mean? And it's not just opening up one school. I think we wanted to open up and impact around the state. You know, go and find these different schools and just be able to put what we've developed into those different places. You know, McDonald's doesn't change the formula.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So once we build that formula all the way out and where we need it to be, we're able to put it in those different spots and continue to educate our kids on personal development, financial literacy, and even the general knowledge that they want to acquire. So and as we've gotten into it, we've had kids taking dual enrollment classes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely moving in the way that we want it to. So
that's amazing, man. I'm just so proud of what you all are doing. There's a young man here that actually goes to my church. I think he's going into his 9th grade year, Gary.
Okay.
And he tells me, he said, yeah, I'm going to True Prep, man. And I remember a couple years ago, just like any other kid, you know, he's just immature, young kid. But the difference that I've seen since he's been working with yourself and Coach P, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about or not. The difference I've just seen in his confidence and how he communicates. I'm like, I said, all right, man. I said, that's what's up, man. I'm proud of you. But he is so excited. Yeah. Like, he's beyond excited because he thinks, like, he knows that this is going to get him to where he wants to go.
Yes, indeed.
Right? And so he's 100% committed. And so I applaud you for everything that you all are doing with the school, your vision, your, just coming in, pushing, which I know she does, right?
Definitely.
And just taking it to the next level. So tell me this. School, real estate, and we hadn't even touched on the real estate stuff, right? Grant Cardone, I mean, you name it, Claudienne Hibbert Smith.
That's crazy, right?
It's amazing, right? Like, I don't know if y'all know that, like, I told Claudienne the other day, we were on the phone, and she said something. I said, Claudienne, like, you're like way famous out here. Like, I don't think you realize how much weight your name carry in the streets, because she just answered the phone all the time like regular Claudienne, right? I'm like, no, she like way famous out here, right?
Here's the other thing she told me, you can't treat me regular no more.
I was like, home she let you know.
What?
Yeah. So we're traveling right next week, and I'm like, I need the people to pick me up with my name on the little sign now. Like, I need some extra So yeah, I'm loving it though. You know,
Jay-Z said he ain't worked this hard to stay the same. So I mean,
Exactly.
hey, you got to elevate.
Yeah,
They gonna win.
you know what I love, that's happening right now, and and just to sum up with the school, and I want to just say this in public because he had a vision of starting a football team. Not only do we start a football team last year, we go to the state championship, we win, we play on ESPN national TV.
Yeah. Congratulations.
The kids are traveling. I get to an awards thing. I get a pendant. I look like it's the NFL pendant. I'm like, whoa, it's black for Black Lives Matter. I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Where I come from, like, we win a championship. We got to figure out how to get the money.
But I want y'all to see how normal they saying this stuff, right? He starts the school. They on ESPN, like.
Yeah.
But that's what We Just Different is all about, because what some people say is unattainable for those that come from where we come from, right?
Right.
They say it's unattainable. It can become normal. Like, these things can become normal to you if you put the work in, right? One of the newest things that I'm saying now is you got to learn to outwork work. Yep. And so once you get to that point, it's like you can have anything that you want. And it's and it seems like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've gotten to the point where it's not even about money anymore. It's about purpose. It's about fulfillment. I mean, the mon's going to come, granted.
Definitely.
But it's not about that. It's about purpose. It's about fulfillment. It's about making an impact in people's lives and planting seeds for fruit that that's going to go beyond your lifetime. Definitely. Right? And it's legacy at this point. Like, you're building something major. So go ahead, Claudienne. I interrupt you there. So you were talking about the school.
I just want to really just pull that in and just kind of sum it up because now we're segueing into basketball, golf, and some other things. And so, listen, we're just here to impact. There's so much going on in the world. And you know what? I love that, we're able to say, and I have this thing, and it's nothing against marching and all that stuff, but I don't want to just be doing this. What are we going to do?
Come on, man.
Like, let's put our money where our mouth is. We could have sold those properties. We could have put $200,000 somewhere else, but we said we're going to give it to our kids.
Yeah.
And I think he says it right. Like, we used to go into schools, and I'm like, well, how are they allowing the kids to come into a building that looks like this? Like, how are you supposed to feel good? We know when we do our hair and we look good, like you feel good, you do better.
Definitely.
And so we wanted to create an environment where the kids are going to come in here, they're going to read affirmations, they're going to see the I'm big about paint and all that kind of stuff, and I do that's my little stuff there. I want to put the basketball player on the wall and, give them visions. Yeah. Without vision, the people will perish.
Yeah, absolutely.
They need to see it. And giving them experiences. I realize that too. A lot of kids don't have experiences.
Yes, indeed.
That's why, we travel the way we travel on planes. I said, we're not taking a bus to drive from Miami to Washington.
Right.
No, we're not doing that.
16 kids, 12
We took about 16 to 12 kids
in
30 days. Where people could not get into the African American Museum, we called Congressman woman Frederica, and she got us in. A 30-day, people waiting 8 months for tickets.
Wow.
Yep. And yes, she got us into the space. We flew. Our kids were saying, we go in hotels, but we've never stayed in a hotel like 5-star hotel.
16 kids from Miami.
Yep. From Miami.
Wow.
And they had an experience. Now they're able to communicate.
And so the beautiful thing about that is that's going to impact generations that they're going to have years to come, because now you've exposed them to something different.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you all are planting seeds and literally will not be here to reap the harvest of some of the things that you're doing.
Correct.
Because 5, 6, 7 generations down from one of those boys that's on that plane, they're going to be like, hey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we
took them to colleges, just, it was amazing.
I tell you what, we're actually seeing it now. Just with the time frame that I worked and coached over that time frame, the Stephen Morrises, the Kayvon Websters, the Marcus Van Dykes, you're seeing those guys fulfill a lot of those things that we talked about even with them back in those days.
Yeah.
And you get to see that, and you're like, you know what, I'm a lot more valuable than just being stuck in this one place. I can impact my community on the outside and do it in a larger way, that I'm able to sprinkle what I need on it rather than being confined in the walls of another place. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's just
you can't wrap it up there though.
No, I'm not gonna wrap it up there.
So wait a minute. I think the key to this, Charles, I have one request, just one request.
Okay.
All I want to do is be the quarterback coach. That's all I want to do. If we can get that done.
You gotta talk to coach about that. I can't help you. I can't help you. I know you over
Give me
travel.
a
He
seat on the
gave you
team.
travel. He gave you travel.
I created that, Charles. He gave it to me.
Listen, well, you can quarterback from way back then.
Yes. So I'm just very excited, man. You know, I got the opportunity to speak on Grant Cardone's stage.
You keep dropping these gems, Claudienne, like it's just everyday stuff. We gonna buy the plane. We got to school.
You gotta understand
we
that
was on
I've already
ESPN.
seen it.
Yeah.
I've already
Come
seen
on,
it happen.
man. So listen, once you see it, it don't matter if it's the first time everybody else hearing it or not. It needs to become normal to you, man. And so
Right.
that's what she's talking about. So I'm getting excited. And the crazy thing is, I know most of this stuff that she's talking about, but just hearing her say it is still unbelievable to me. But to her, it's like, this already happened, man.
Yeah, this already happened. My TV show has already
That's
happened.
what I'm talking about.
You know, and then I see Ellen. You know, I always said I wanted to be the Ellen of real estate.
Hey, listen, I know.
And then I see her retire. I'm like, wow, like this is just like perfect timing for me. Thanks, Ellen. You know, no,
I'm gonna say this. Claudienne is the Ellen of real estate. I'm gonna just give you a brief little story real quick. So Claudienne, I started working with Claudienne about 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And in real estate, I admit I don't really do too much of nothing when it comes to real estate because I'm doing so many other things. Claudienne calls me one day and says, Charles, I got a deal I want to give you. I just want you to work on it. Now let me tell you, people, this was not a little deal. This wasn't a $100,000 flip, you know, $300,000 first time home buyer. It wasn't $1 million. You know, they came up on some money and they want to get their dream home. This lady right here gave me a commercial deal that was what, $2.5 million?
almost $3 million.
And she said, Charles, I want you to run with it and work on it. Like that kind of stuff, that's Ellen type stuff,
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Like that's not normal.
Wow.
And
I
seriously,
didn't think about it like that.
in our community, we don't do stuff like that
Yeah.
because a lot of people would have said, I don't want to work on that with somebody. I don't want to split that with somebody. I want to do it all myself. But Claudienne said, Charles, I don't want to do commercial. You want to do this. Take this $2 million deal and make it happen and come back to
You
me. with
educated
stuff.
the client on 1031 exchange.
And so Claudienne, we went months and months and months. And then I think right before it closed was the first time we talked about it.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about it. So,
you
so
was
I
trying
can
to call
brag on
me
you.
every now and then. Claudienne, what do you think? I said, Charles, this is your lane.
You
You
said I
got
ain't giving
this.
you so you can call me. You said you got it.
He got it. You know, so I let him run with it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know that's his area, that was his
Give him that space.
expertise, and that
So,
was
so
one of the
you
reasons
are
why I
the Ellen
wanted.
of real estate. I gotta say that, man.
Yes,
I
you
can't
are.
I can't skip over that. Like
Thank you.
she is major. I don't know from a numbers perspective where she is on the rank in Florida, but I would put my money
Number
that you
one.
at the top. You at
Yes.
the top.
We're gonna claim that.
You at the top. She at the top, man. And that's amazing. So talk to me about just real estate really quick. I know you got a lot of other stuff you got to get to, but just Grant Cardone, you make the transition from where you were for 20 years. I mean, now you
I just understand.
private jets, helicopters, you hanging
Yeah,
out
isn't
with
that crazy?
billionaires, right? Not with an M people, with a B. You hanging out with some big people. So, and
Yeah,
you
and
right
it's been
there.
amazing. It's like I've known them forever. Like
Yeah.
Elena and I always say, I was like, is this really Elena? Like, I feel like we sisters from a different mother or something. I'm confused. Yeah, but it's been amazing. I just understood the greater the risk, the higher the return.
Yeah.
The greater the risk. Y'all write that down. The greater the risk, the higher the return. And, you know, and I always use this as an analogy. You know, when I left my mom's house at 18, 17, however old I was, and went on to college, I didn't leave because I didn't like my mom. I left because she did as much as she could do for me.
Right.
It was time for me to go out and soar and grow, learn some new things, get out of my environment. You know, I went on to the University of Florida. I learned so much there about people, building relationships. It wasn't just about, you know, getting the degree. It was about what I was able to build while I was there. And I look at my last company. I was with them for 2 decades. And I said, you know what? They were good to me. But they took me as far as they could take me.
Right.
It was time for me to come out of the nest. I found myself saying I'm retiring, and he probably helped me go to the next company because I started saying maybe I should come over to the school and do some more.
When you say no, you got
He
you
said,
got to find another company.
Go on. And so I went over there, and I tell you,
That's funny.
they've received me with such love and care, and you know, I've gotten my own onboarding team, and I've been able to go over there and break some records, so I'm excited about that.
Wow.
And Charles, it's just, you know, it's more about it. Let me say this. You know, we turn these lights off right now. I always say this, and you had no money to pay your light bill, you'd be probably a little sad. You know, you'd be hurt. And so while money is important, and I believe money is important because it segues to opportunities for our students. I remember we took our kids on that trip. Our kids ain't paying a dime. Yeah. I said our kids will not go because their parents do not have, because of lack thereof. No, there is no lack or limitation in the mind of God. So there cannot be any lack or limitation in our mind because we're made from His cloth. Absolutely. So if you know, you start thinking about the term, you start saying, wait, we can't be of lack and limitation. Yep. How? God wasn't of lack and limitation, so why should we? Right. Well, our kids will not say they cannot go because our parents cannot afford it. Right. And so I just, it's not that it's about the money, but I understand the importance of money. Mm-hmm. But this time around, I think it's more than money. See, when I got into real estate, it was about the money. I was broke. Right. Now it's about impact. It's about taking that 97% of realtors that fail and making that number slim, making that 3% bigger of the people who win. And I'll be honest with you, you know, across the board, but definitely in our community, making that number larger. Because we already in our minds think we don't belong. Yeah. You know, when I came into real estate, it was white male dominated. I didn't know that. I was ignorance on fire. Yeah. You couldn't tell me nothing. Yeah. And sometimes it pays to not pay attention to that stuff because sometimes that stuff can hinder you from where you need to go.
Well, I think I would even stretch it further than that and say most of the time it pays to not pay attention to that stuff because one of the challenges that I see a lot of people, Claudienne, they come to me and they ask me questions and I'm coaching them and I'm speaking and they say, well, how do you do this? And it's like, you don't realize how much I don't care about your opinion. That's how I do it, right? And it's like, I stopped asking people, what do you think about what I should do?
I don't do that. Yeah.
And it's like, that's what you just said. Like, I really don't care that it's a white male dominated industry. Yeah, I might have had a kid at 14. Yeah, I might have done this. Yeah, I might have done that. But I'm here to win.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when I made my decision to move from my last company to the next company, it took me about 30 minutes on that Friday. And I don't even think I called you first. I did call you and said, babe, I'm making the move. Didn't I remember that day? Yeah. I'm making the move. And I remember even traveling while I was pregnant during the pandemic. And I'm tied in here. I did not communicate to people what I was doing because I already know what people are going to do. Oh, you traveling, you pregnant in the middle of the pandemic. They will cause curse on your own life, right? After you done prayed up, you spend all this energy getting into a space. I like to call it vortex, right? And then they are down now, praying you down. It's too much energy. So sometimes you can't share. You can't ask the opinions of others because they don't have what you've built up. Yeah. And see, people say, well, how did you do that so quickly? See, y'all got to go pray about it for 48 hours. I done did that for the last 30 days. Right. Consistently. Right. I have prayed, I have meditated, I have affirmed. So that now I have prepared myself when it's time to make a decision, I'm able to make a decision. Right. Because I'm able to discern faster because I've already done the work.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else that's so big about that, and this is just me confessing, saying, hey, I'm still growing too as a person, right? So EXP is the company that we're talking about. You move over, you start working with Elena and Grant Cardone. I mean, amazing, just celebrities in their own right, but very humble as well, right?
Yeah.
And so right before I found out that you made the move over to EXP, I had got on a call probably 30, 45 days before that. And I'm like, man, it'd be super dope if I could introduce this to Claudienne. Yeah. And out of fear, I didn't say nothing to her. Yeah. I didn't say nothing to Claudienne. And then when I talked to you, you was like, Charles, why didn't you tell me? Yeah. And I was like, I didn't think you was going nowhere. You was like, but what did you just tell me? And I shared some things about what God said to me about, you know, where I was going and the other company and how it wasn't going to be for me. It's just like, Charles, you should have told me. And so at that moment, I began kicking myself for like, Charles, you arguably had the top real estate agent in the state of Florida ever. And you could have introduced this to her, but out of fear, I didn't say nothing.
And I have so much respect for Charles that if Charles would have brought it to me, I would have listened. Yeah. So he got into his own way.
I got my own way.
He got it his own way.
I got him my own way.
But it's okay because we're going to still chop it up. Absolutely. We're going to make some money. We're going to impact some people. Oh, yeah. Get some people on this stage.
Definitely.
And have a good time with it.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and wrap it up here because there's so much. I could talk to y'all forever, man. And definitely, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I want y'all to come back. I need y'all to come back and talk. It don't have to be now or tomorrow, but maybe next week. Like, we'll figure it out, right? I'm just joking, but I definitely want y'all to come back. Any last words? Anything y'all want to say? I'm so appreciative and so thankful that you all sat down. Like I said, in 305 in Miami, man, y'all celebrities, man. Like, y'all really doing it. And I'm not talking about celebrity from a status of y'all untouchable, but like, you all are doing what people are striving to get to. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing to see you as a woman entrepreneur, you as a male entrepreneur. But then what excites me is to see you as a couple doing what you're doing, and you love God, man. Like, that's major to me. Like, anything y'all want to say?
I think just having that chemistry in the home is huge. You know what I mean?
Which was then a decision too.
Yeah.
We do not argue when we come in the house. Whatever we talked about, we come up with even if we don't agree, we don't stay distant.
Yeah.
I always ask myself this, and I'll let you finish. If he is not here tomorrow, how do I feel in this very moment? That helps me a lot. If I lose my husband tomorrow, do I say, man, at least I got to give him a kiss one more last time, or did I get into an argument? Am I going to wish I had a different experience? Wow. And so I let that one thing determine our relationship. And I
how
think
you're gonna respond.
When I have to respect his differences, he respects my differences, and we move on.
So there's rules to the engagement.
Yes,
we move on.
And I think that all of that stuff comes with personal development. You know what I mean? And us learning ourselves to learn each other over a period of time. And it's constant now. I think another thing that's even drawing us more together is us praying and meditating together, and even doing it with our child.
A new son, legend.
Absolutely.
We have a 24 to 26-year-old and a 7-month-old.
I saw you reading the book to him the other day. I said, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the book was titled Legend. Was it Legend?
Little Legend.
Little Legend.
Yep.
Reading it to Legend.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
As
I
soon
had
as
to
I
run
said
and
it, I
go
said,
catch find the
Legend
camera.
gonna write him a book before he get out of elementary school.
Right, exactly.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Hey, listen, I am so glad, so thankful that I was able to make the call and you all were able to come out. I hope you all got something from this. Like I said, what I'm going to continue to tell you is, hey, listen, do everything possible to do everything possible. No fear, no regrets. If you believe that God said it's yours, I want you to kick down the door with everything you got and don't take no for an answer. Do everything possible to do everything possible. We Just Different Podcast. I'm telling you, this is going to be a good one. Hey, listen, Grant, I want to see you on here. Gary V, Stephen Morris. I got a whole list of people I've been DMing. Y'all better respond to me, because I'm telling you, I got people like Claudienne in my corner, and when she start calling, I just pick some up. I'm not going to stop calling. She just gave me some energy now, so I'm excited, man. I love you. Do everything possible to do everything possible. No fear, no regrets. Charles Robinson, Claudienne Hibbert Smith, Mario Smith, making an impact, man. Love you. Hey, listen, thank you so much for tuning in to We Just Different Podcast. Remember, do everything possible to do everything possible. No fear, no regrets. Charles Robinson.